So with part 2, we're going to see some matchups. It looks like there's a couple times where 2 songs from the same album are put against each other. So this is going to get interesting. So without any further ado, part 2.
What the hell?
Oh my God. Well, that was pretty amazing, wasn't it? Thanks, James.
What happened? Oh.
And this is the first of the matchups between 2 songs of the same album. So I'll start. Nothing Else Matters. It wins it for me. We have played Don't Tread on Me before, and it was really cool when we played it. It's a fun song to play, but just the power from Nothing Else Matters, especially that Nimes France version that we kind of emulate, just is so powerful to me. And I love playing it, love singing it. Nothing Else Matters.
Yeah, so I'll go next. Definitely Nothing Else Matters. Similar reasons. The song's just very moving. It can be heard for different emotional reasons. And for us as a band, one of the coolest things is that we got asked to play it acoustically for a wedding. I mean, come on, that was just awesome. And that couple to this day still clamors about that. So it's part of their wedding video, as a matter of fact. So it's just awesome.
I went with Nothing Else Matters also. This, I don't know, like, I mean, this is a song like it didn't, I remember when it came out, it's not never always registered with me as one of my favorite songs on the Black Album, but it's like it kind of grew on me after many years. Like, I mean, I always liked it, but I don't know, it's just as far as like it's their monster ballad. And I also like, this is one of the ones for whatever reason, I really enjoy playing it live. I don't know what it is about it. I more so than what I expected. Don't Tread on Me. I don't know why. I feel like they could have done something different with a song called Don't Tread on Me. I would have liked it more. But like, I don't dislike it, but I still went with Nothing Else Matters.
I love the lyrics of Don't Tread on Me.
Yeah.
But the structure and the song, it could have been done a lot differently.
I also went with Nothing Else Matters. I have nothing to add. Thing that should not be, and Damage Incorporated. I have a feeling I think I know which way this is going to go, but I'm going to go with the thing that should not be, because that between that and Call of Cthulhu, it actually got me into H.P. Lovecraft, and that's the only reason I got into H.P. Lovecraft. And until Sad But True, that was their heaviest song. And so the Seattle '89 show, they did that whole Metallica gives you heavy, baby, and then they played that.
For me, I'm gonna go with Damage for some reason, and I really cannot put my finger on it. I haven't been able to get into The Thing That Should Not Be. Maybe it's because it's just its structure and well, yeah, I guess structure is just so odd and different from everything else, especially on that album. But it's just kind of a weird song to me, and for some reason, I can't really sink myself into it. So, especially compared to Damage, which I can. So that's my reason.
Its weirdness is one of the things I like about it, even though Damage starts with a bass intro.
I'm going to go with Damage. Love playing it. Has a lot of power. And this is going to sound weird, but I always think of, like, when I heard Frantic and played Frantic for the first time, I thought of Damage, because you know how it has the slide chords? You slide from 6 to 3. Something just clicked there. You know what I mean? I don't know. But Damage Inc. it is.
Zach, I think you got to call T, because we're going to have to break a tie here.
Whoa!
Because Yeah, I went with Thing That Should Not Be. I mean, again, these are both great songs. I think the Thing That Should Not Be kind of gives me something that no other Metallica song would have, whereas Damage Incorporated, I kind of could have gotten the same effect from another Metallica song. So if no other reason than that. I mean, it was the start of like their, it's kind of like their heavy song on the album, the one song where they tuned down, kind of like where there's like Sad But True was. It's kind of got that effect, but yeah, it's got this whole other just like the solo and just the particular melodies they have this whole otherworldly effect that they never really revisited after that, and they pulled it off the first time. So yeah, I'm going with Things Should Not Be.
Yeah. So I just asked our photographer, and the answer that came back was Damage Inc.
I'm not surprised. It's like Zach gets 2 votes.
Exactly. All right, Damage Inc. it is. Harvester, Sorrow, and Bleeding Me.
I think I started the last one.
Yeah.
I kind of want to start this one, if that's okay.
Go for it.
Go ahead.
So when I think Harvester of Sorrow, I think of the video of them playing in Moscow in, what was that, 91?
Same.
And all right, so you got that image in your head, the Iron Curtain is falling and heavy metal comes to the Soviet Union or the former Soviet Union for the first time. And now think of them playing Bleeding Me. It just doesn't really work. I'm going to go with Harvester of Sorrow.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Harvester also. It's just a killer song, and dominates certainly over Bleeding Me, in my opinion.
Same. It's not a fast song, but it's definitely effective. Bleeding Me has that cool bridge part, which I think is a really cool jam. And when a lot of people say that Metallica changed their sound, like I usually pick out Bleeding Me as a song that shows a lot of the elements of Metallica songwriting didn't change. That's what I use. Did you just burp, Tim?
Yeah, but I muted it.
Great. So I'm going with Harvester of Sorrow.
Harvester of Sorrow. Bleeding Me is kind of, that's just one of the songs I always kind of glossed over. Never really did anything in particular for me. I do think it's kind of neat at the end a little bit when they change up the tempo. Like it's got kind of a sense of dynamics that another radio hit song normally wouldn't have. That's cool. But Harvester of Sorrow, no, that's a song you feel in your chest. So that's my vote.
Love it. Four Horsemen and Broken Beat and Scarred.
Broken what?
Broken Beat and Scarred.
PBS, Bulletin Board System.
That was my asshole way of casting my vote.
On the bracket that Metallica first put up,
PBS.
it said BBS, and I was like, "What the fuck is that?" So
big bag of shit.
Right. So Horsemen. Once again, the rhythm section is in agreement.
One of my favorite songs on Kill 'Em All. And BBS was a song I had to look up also. You're like, okay, it's that song. And so I don't really think I need to elaborate on what my choice was.
So, I also picked Four Horsemen, obviously. I just want to give a shout out to BBS. I do feel like in another time and place and with different production, I could have heard this. If I could have heard this song on And Justice for All. Personally, I think I could have, but maybe I'm tripping. So next. All right. Fade to Black versus Jump in the Fire. This is like a come on.
Exactly.
do we even need to discuss this? Is anybody going to pick Jump in the Fire?
I didn't realize how many no-brainers there really were until we're all doing it together. Like, I'll say that, I don't dislike Jump in the Fire, but that's one of the songs on Kill 'Em All that's got, I don't know, it's got a very strong new wave of British heavy metal vibe. It was like, seen clearly before the point where Metallica just found their own voice at all.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not really one of my standout songs on Kill 'Em All as it is. And it's competing with Fade to Black. So there's that. That's the clean heavy, the clean into heavy song, the classic one from Ride the Lightning in that case. So
Yeah.
The original, look up the original lyrics to Jump in the Fire. If anyone out there is on the fence, look up the original lyrics. And,
is it like another Dave Mustaine thing about a mechanic?
It's one of those. One of those Dave Mustaine lyrics. It's terrible.
So, and Justice for All versus No Remorse.
Go ahead, Mark.
I honestly don't know what I'm going to do.
I'm on the fence on this one too. From a bass perspective, the bass line in No Remorse is more interesting because in Justice he basically follows the guitars.
Mm-hmm.
In No Remorse, he does his own thing, and during the chorus, no remorse, no repent. That part, like the bass notes, make no sense. They're all in the key, but they don't follow the guitars at all. All the accents are some weird inversion. So just talking through it just now, I think I've convinced myself it's No Remorse and is based solely on the bass line and nothing else.
So for me, and Justice for All is, one of the more, in my opinion, one of the more progressive songs on that album. A lot of different twists to it, a lot of different cutovers. The dynamics of the song are all there. It's a very cool song to play, very long song to play. But I don't get, for myself anyway, on the drums anyway, the same energy, that same intensity, and that same feel of just kind of aggression that I get out of No Remorse. And partially it's the bridge from the lyric into the chorus with No Remorse. It also happens to be the very first Metallica song I ever heard. And it's really what kind of swung my neck around going, Ted, who the hell was that? Oh, that's this band called Metallica. I was like, holy shit, play that again. And then, out comes the rest of the Puppets album. So, or the Puppets album. So to me, it's No Remorse.
They're both good songs. And Justice for All that's one of my favorite songs on And Justice for All as it is. And I think it's, like Zach was saying, it's got a lot of twists and turns, and it's not even really obvious when you're listening to it. When you're playing it, you're like, oh, okay, that's weird they did it that way. So, they take parts that seem really simple, but they add these just weird twists to it. Yeah, and the intro part, that's classic And Justice for All album, like, epicness on it. Just taken to one of its extremes. I like No Remorse, but I don't think it really grabs me the way that it grabs some people. So yeah, I went with Justice on this one.
This is probably one of the hardest ones on the list for me. I think I'm going to end up going with No Remorse, and I'm only going with how I really enjoy singing this song. You know what I mean? And I get when I sing it, I get a lot of what I do kind of off that original Kill Ride medley that Metallica did in 96, 97. Just James' voice in that I love it. I'm going to end up going with No Remorse, but this was tough. Does anybody care if I go first for Creeping Death and End of the Line?
Go for it.
I think this is a perfect matchup because I see a lot of Creeping Death in the end of the line, especially during the verse, how it's that group chant, need, Anyway, but I'm going to end up going with Creeping Death.
I do like when they say, "You've reached the end of the line," and then they go into that groove. That's pretty cool. But, but it's nothing compared to die,
Exactly.
die. So, Creeping Death.
I'm just going to echo what Tim said and just ask that when we play that again, hopefully we get to play again, that during that beginning part of the chant that we hold out our part of it longer to see if we can get the crowd to do it longer before we go into the singing portion.
Creeping Death, I literally have nothing else I could add that you guys said. I do like End of the Line, but not as much as I like Creeping Death. That's pretty much all there is to it.
All right, Creeping Death it is. Memory Remains versus Cyanide. Cyanide.
For me, it's Memory Remains. For some reason, I don't know why either, and this kind of piggybacks on a comment Greg had made earlier. I just really enjoy playing this song. It's not particularly hard by any means, at least not for me. I just really enjoy playing it. I get into it for some reason, certainly over Cyanide. So Memory Remains for me.
And Cyanide is one of the songs I do like better off Death Magnetic. So I think this was a pretty good matchup. Memory Remains, it's like, both Load and Reload, there's songs on it I kind of could do without, but there's ones that definitely, I'm like, okay, this is cool. And Memory Remains is definitely one of those ones on there. The choice to have the vocals by Marianne Faithfull, that was an interesting choice. I went with Memory. It's one of the better songs on Reload. It's a simple song, but gets the job done. So yeah.
I also went with Memory. I love the music video. It's
same.
Cool.
So Reload was the first album that introduced me to Metallica. I was like 11 during Reload, I believe. So Fuel was the first single off that track album. Second was Memory Remains, and I was hooked from Fuel on. So I have to go with Memory Remains. Master of Puppets versus Dyer's Eve. Oh, I'm gonna pick Master of Puppets just because that is Metallica to me. Master of Puppets. That's all I can say.
I guess I'll add to that. I agree. That to me, that is definitely that signature token of Metallica. When you think of imagery and you album artwork or sounds, Puppets is one of those very first things you ever think of. So I agree with that. I'll also add selfishly that I'm going with Puppets because compared to Dyer's Eve, it's the one that I can accurately play.
I went with Master of Puppets. I'll just tell you right now, in my entire bracket, Puppets went very far. That was one of those songs first time I heard it. Like the first riff was like, holy shit, that's heavy. And then like maybe then I hear the next part, I'm like, holy shit, that's even cooler. Holy shit, that's even cooler. And I can't even give you a specific reason. It's just everything kind of comes together just right. Dyer's Eve, I do like the song. I feel like maybe I could have, there's some interesting ideas in there, but it's kind of like got the same like closing Rager vibe that Damage Incorporated has. So kind of like it just doesn't stand out quite as much for me because of that. So yeah, I won't Master of Puppets.
So if I suffered any hearing loss in the 90s, it is because of Dyer's Eve. I can't let it get out of this matchup without a vote. So I have to vote for Dyer's Eve.
Master of Puppets it is. I almost said Dyer's Eve it is.
But Tim, I promise you, Tim, I will learn how to play it accurately, though.
Good.
All right, next matchup is Atlas Rise versus Now That We're Dead.
I like both songs. This was a tough matchup, but I think the Now That We're Dead intro like made me think it was Judas Priest, and not good Judas Priest, just like, you know, some deep cut of Judas Priest. So because of that, I'm going to go with Atlas Rise.
Hey, Tim, did it sound like one of the later Judas Priest songs?
It did. Yes.
Okay, because
it's
I
that
think
drum thing.
There's a song, I think, on Angel of Retribution that has a similar beginning to that one.
Maybe that's why.
No.
And like Angel of Retribution is good and all, but like,
but that song's not that good.
Yeah, so my vote is for Atlas Rise, and it's a cool chorus.
Same. I really like the song. I think it's one of the strongest songs on that album, other than probably Moth into Flame. I love playing it. I hope we can play it one day. Enough said.
Yeah.
For me, I'm going with Atlas.
Atlas also. I mean, Now We're Dead kind of. That's the song that kind of just washes over me and I forget about it. Whereas Atlas has like standout middle parts. It's got a memorable chorus. It's one of the better songs I like from Hardwired. So yeah, that's what I went with.
Agreed. All right, Fuel versus I Disappear.
I know what Mark's voting for.
I'm going to vote for Fuel.
I think Mark should start.
This is my introduction to Metallica. When somebody asks what my favorite Metallica song is, I say Blackened, but I feel like Fuel is right up with there because that is what introduced me to Metallica and kind of got me into heavy music to begin with. So I know there's a lot of critics about this song, but I love it. Fuel it is.
I went with Fuel too. Out of both the songs I tend to group load and reload material together a lot of time for obvious reasons. But out of all that material, that's one of the songs I do like better out of all of it, because not even Load really has an equivalent of it on there. And I Disappear, I don't know, that was a song that was that the one that was on the Mission Impossible soundtrack? I forget. Like that wasn't on.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm remembering that correctly. Like that one kind of just doesn't really do anything for me at all. Anyway, so which I can't really say that about a whole lot of Metallica songs, to tell you the truth. That one just kind of washes over me, and I'm like, okay, yeah, that just happened, I think. So I went with Fuel.
I went with Fuel also, just because it's a much better song, but also Disappear as you brought up, Greg, is a soundtrack song for a stupid movie. So I can't vote for it.
The one thing I'll say about I Disappear is the video is amazing.
Yes.
But not for the reason you think. Like Lars, what is it? Kurt gets to jump out of a blown up building and Lars like dives under a plane or something, and Jason can't get through a crowd. They wasted. No, they didn't waste. They used the whole budget on everyone doing cool shit except for Jason. They're like, get through this crowd of people, and he can't. It's wonderful. That being said, Fuel is a better song. I Disappear, like, it's pretty cool, I think. But it's too easy to just make a joke of the hey part, Maybe
there's a really
lazy
cool
or
guitar
something.
in that music video.
Yeah.
That is fantastic. All right, next is Ride the Lightning and The Shortest Straw.
I'm actually going to go with The Shortest Straw. To me, it's one of my favorite songs to play. It's always a challenge for me, but I enjoy that challenge, so I love playing it. The only reason I would consider picking Ride is because I like making Tim laugh when it gets to the cymbal parts. So for anybody watching this video, you'll have no idea what the hell I'm talking about unless you see us live. But if you see us live and you see us play, just watch when we get to the chorus part. Even Mark and Greg probably really don't even know what the hell I'm talking about because they're usually facing forward. But
it's getting me now, and we're not even playing it.
but I'm gonna go with Shortest Straw. It's just one of my favorite songs to play.
I'm gonna also say the Shortest Straw. I love that album, like I had said before, and I think it's very fun to play. Hard to sing, but fun to play.
I went with Ride the Lightning. I like Shortest Straw, but I can't always make up my mind on it. Like, I like the middle part. I like some of the melody ideas they use, but something about that song is kind of an anomaly to me, just as far as Metallica of that era. I don't know what it is. Like, maybe there's not another equivalent of it on other albums, but Ride the Lightning is just that whole just epic solo part, and the I don't know. It's a very good mix of just different Metallica elements in it. So I went with Ride the Lightning.
I had to base this on the bass line alone. Again, Cliff wrote a better bass line than Justice era Jason. It's Ride the Lightning is just more interesting to play. Also, like a weird side note. So another band I really like is Iced Earth. On one album called The Glorious Burden, they released one of the singles was called The Reckoning, and in parentheses, Don't Tread on Me. And the main riff is the same riff in Ride the Lightning. So it has been recycled by Iced Earth, which I also like. So that's just more reason to vote for Ride the Lightning.
So our photographer has weighed in with Ride.
Really?
Yep.
Oh,
wow.
Swing.
Wait, what was it?
Ride the Lightning. It is.
That was a fast turnaround on the tiebreaker.
Did not expect that.
As soon as I started hearing where it was going, so let me ask the question.
So now we have Sad But True versus Phantom Lord.
For me, easily Sad But True. When I hear it, I actually no longer hear the album version. I hear the Nîmes France version, and I just can't get it out of my head how he intros that song. Even though I think we've tried it once or twice that way, love to try it again. But when I think of that song now, that's the only version I hear anymore, and I just can't get it out of my head.
Agreed. Very fun to play. Love the crowd response. It's heavy. All the above.
I actually went with Phantom on this one, and this was a tough one. I mean, I love Sad But True. That might have been one of the first Metallica songs I ever heard. I think I don't know, just the middle part and the lead part in Phantom. There's kind of just something about that the rest of the songs in Kill 'Em All don't exactly have. I felt like I couldn't. I know Tim said this about one other song. I feel like this one's probably not going to get very far, but I couldn't let it go through without at least giving it a shout out of some sort. So I went with that. Phantom Lord.
I like both songs. I had to go with Sad But True based on the visceral reaction that I get from hearing Sad But True. It's fucking heavy.
Of Wolf and Man versus All Nightmare Long. I will go first. I'm going to go with All Nightmare Long. I think the bridge part is fantastic. You know, that love that shit. All Nightmare Long.
I went with the Wolf and Man. It's just the only matchup where, like, it was kind of two songs I'm not terribly enthusiastic about. So, but I really like the chorus of Wolf and Man. I don't know. It's like, it's a heavy song. It's kind of, it's not their heaviest on that album or period, but it's its own thing on the Black Album, kind of. So, yeah, I went with the Wolf and Man.
Yeah, so I'm going with Wolf Man also. I just love the song, and call me an effects guy or what have you, but I love when they add in the actual wolf sounds in the middle. I love it. Also, it's the only animal sound I can make, so I love it.
Perfect segue. That's my favorite thing about Of Wolf and Man is when Zach howls. It's a cool song. It's got cool riffs. But this might be weird, but what really sells All Nightmare Long for me is the video. I think it's one of the best videos they ever made. I highly recommend you watch it if you've never seen it. It's like this weird Soviet sci-fi horror thing going on. It's really cool. So my vote is actually for All Nightmare Long.
Wherever I May Roam versus the Call of Cthulhu.
I gotta start with this one. It's Call of Cthulhu. The bass is just so good in Call of Cthulhu. It's just like Orion. Like, it's hard to beat that songwriting. I understand why someone would like Wherever I May Roam more than Call of Cthulhu, but for me, Call of Cthulhu is like everything I love about a song.
Yeah, so I'll echo what you just said, Tim, and also for a lot of the same reasons why I said Orion, although not as strong emotionally for me as Orion, but still very close. I think Cthulhu for me was actually the first kind of anthem ballad that I heard from Metallica, and it blew me away. So yeah, for me, hands down, Cthulhu.
Going with Cthulhu also, and this was not the easiest one either for me. I mean, Wherever I Roam, that might actually, never actually thought about it. That might actually be my favorite song on the Black Album. But yeah, as far as just album things to cap off an album, Cthulhu kind of, that might be my favorite closer in general for the above reasons. So that was my choice.
So I picked Wherever I May Roam. And I totally did it based off of crowd reaction, getting the crowd to sing back that I Ask No One, in the whatever they sing back. I don't even know the words because they do it. So
that is one of my favorite moments of our concerts every single time.
It's a fun song to sing and play. It was a tough decision. I'm going with Wherever I May Roam, but it doesn't matter because Call of Cthulhu won.
I'm actually surprised by that.
Yeah, me too.
Tough choice.
Yeah.
But by the way, our photographer has weighed in of Wolf and Man.
The last matchup of the night, Moth into Flame versus No Leaf Clover. I would like to start. I think No Leaf Clover is a phenomenal song. So is Moth into Flame, but the physical reaction I get when playing No Leaf Clover is above and beyond what I get from playing Moth and Flame the couple of times that we've done it. Love singing the song, love playing it. I think it's very strong and very powerful from beginning to the end.
I went with Moth into the Flame on this one. That might be my favorite song on Hardwired. And this one I had to think about this one also just because No Leaf Clover, I remember when it came out, and that was, I don't know, maybe like a couple of years after Reload did. I was like, I don't know what the hell Metallica is going to do next after this. Like, I had no concept. And they put that out, and I was like, they actually still got it. But yeah, I mean, Moth in a Flame, that might be my standout track on an album that was like, okay, Metallica's really back. So that was my choice.
I like both the songs. But I remember when No Leaf Clover came out, and it was I feel like they were one of the first metal bands that got with the symphony, and now all the metal bands are getting with a symphony, usually from Eastern Europe because they're cheaper. Like, I had never heard anything like No Leaf Clover when it came out. So, Moth into Flame, yeah, it's good. It's one of the better songs. Like, I'll put it on the top 4 songs of Hardwired. But yeah, I'm gonna have to go with No Leaf Clover. I love it. It's fantastic.
Yeah. So for me, I love Moth and Flame, especially their collaborated version with Lady Gaga. I thought that was actually really cool. When I heard that they were going to do that, I was kind of nervous. Like, really? Okay, let's see how that turned out. But it actually, turned out really well. Minus James throwing the mic off stage when it didn't work. But that said, I thought they did a really good job on that song. No Leaf Clover, though, going back to the introduction of the blending of their music with the symphony, it's just one of those songs that when you hear it, it doesn't matter if you love Metallica, hate Metallica, love heavy metal, hate heavy metal. It doesn't matter. You listen to it and you go, wow, that is just really impressive of an effort between a band and an actual symphony to put that together. And to your point, Mark, the reaction that we get from the crowd, which honestly surprised the hell out of me. I was not expecting the crowd to be as hyped up for that song as they actually were. I was kind of like, all right, is this one going to be a flop and a dud? But they lit up, especially watching back some of those videos. So in any case, No Leaf Clover it is for me.